Welcome to St Martin in the Fields, and thank you for joining us. You don't need me to tell you that it's been a tough year for all of us. But in spite of great challenges, St Martin's has had much to inspire us. As we look to what promises to be a difficult Christmas for many, I've asked some voices from around our community to tell you about the year they've had and their hopes for our future. When we went into lockdown in March, it looked like we have to postpone growing our work around the UK and the world with our Heart Edge movement, but instead it's become a time of amazing growth. Here's Andy Turner from the Heart Edge team to tell us about their year.
I think there's been lots of support being offered through video conferencing software like Zoom, and people getting together, talking about the issues that they're confronting, whether that's in California in the States or Rhode Island or New York or wherever, to Boston or Brisbane, Melbourne, Seattle. Why am I listing different parts of the world? It has felt like that, a kind of global gathering. And also people from across the UK and the Netherlands meeting up to talk about things that they're confronting, from how to change and reinvent their social enterprise, their community business, to their winter night shelter and their work with the homeless, to supporting each other, to take their church online and to shift to running digital services. All of these things that are stressful, and other issues that are more, I suppose you could call them pastoral, working with people who've lost somebody, or just being with somebody who's grieving. Taking time to think about what all that means, and finding in the midst of talking about that and sharing that through Zoom and other forum, finding real support and solidarity and encouragement and new ways of doing things, and discovering that in the midst of this terrible pandemic, maybe good things come out of it. Spirit of St Martin's, I think, is about generosity. So there's been a lot of generosity in people sharing and giving. That's been a great privilege. Yeah. What am I looking forward to about Christmas at St Martin's? I suppose Christmas is a time when lots of churches are very active in their communities, and there's lots of planning afoot, and it's complicated. It's really busy. It's really, really busy. So I'm thinking of the church services that are put together. I'm thinking of winter night shelters. I'm thinking of all the kind of hospitality that goes on. So I think it's complicated, and this year's going to be even more so. So I think alongside the run up to the festivities, there'll be that opportunity to talk and share, and for people to get online, I think, and through this emerging global community of practitioners and activists and clergy and volunteers and people who love Christmas doing stuff. I think there'll be a great opportunity to share about how we're going to do it this year, and in doing so just feel that solidarity and encouragement from each other. That's a warm glow, isn't it? I think there'll be a bit of that in the run up to Christmas, and I think maybe in the new year, maybe sometime in 2021, there might be an opportunity to look back and celebrate tough times, but remarkable stuff that happened. Happy Christmas.
Music has long been at the heart of life at St Martin's, but our church fell silent in March, and it was 6 months until live music was performed here again. However, our music teams worked hard and continued to share the joy of music online around the UK and the world. Choral pieces recorded remotely were shared widely, and to date there have been over 250,000 downloads of music from St Martin's. We remain committed to supporting the performance careers of our talented singers. Let's now hear from George Cook as he talks about 2020 as one of our choral scholars.
So one thing that I'm certainly really looking forward to at Christmas at St Martin's is hopefully to be able to continue singing with my fellow peers in St Martin's Voices and also in the scholarship. It's a really tough time at the minute, and I think it will be tough at Christmas because there's just a certain amount of uncertainty at the minute, and it's quite tricky. But I'm hoping that our music will be able to comfort people, especially Christmas is normally a time when people come together. So hopefully when people might not be able to come together over Christmas, hopefully we can bring them together and unite them through our music. So there are many moments that I have felt happy to be a part of St Martin's during COVID, but one in particular, one thing I'm really proud of are all the recordings that we've done that have been sent across the world for several services and to help churches still produce their services and still be able to worship over COVID, especially during lockdown. And definitely something I've learned over the lockdown period was how to sing remotely. It was certainly very challenging trying to work out how to rehearse when we weren't in the room together and we couldn't actually sing together. So I've certainly come to terms with Zoom, as I'm sure everyone has. It's been a learning curve, but one that I've seriously enjoyed. What am I hoping for in 2021? Well, I'm hoping that it will be a more enjoyable year when we will be able to see our family and friends far easier than we're able to now, and be able to give our grandparents a hug and all those things. But what would I love to see happening at St Martin's? Well, I'd just love to see people back there, to be honest. Whether they're just visiting or attending a service or a concert, I think it would just be lovely to see it full and thriving again.
In preparing for this event, I was asked to think back over the last year, and I was reminded of our first Sunday morning service in the building after lockdown. As I watched people assemble, I recalled Emma Lazarus's famous words, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore," bit personal maybe, "send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." Those words, of course, made famous because they're chiselled into the plinth of the Statue of Liberty. And those words were enfolded into the Eucharistic prayer for that Sunday because it was the day after July 4th, Independence Day. And when I heard those words folded into the prayer, I felt extraordinary joy that on its knees, though St Martin's might financially be, on its knees was the best place to be devotionally, because this is a community where faith, homelessness, beauty, and struggle are all part of one story. And to be at a difficult part of that story is as much of a privilege as to be at a glorious part. There were many important things about the hot meals served to people outside St Martin's through lockdown on Sundays. It was a vital way of staying in touch with the neediest in our community. It turned into a remarkable partnership with a local Sikh restaurant. But best of all, among the leaders who prepared and shared the meals were people who joined our asylum seeker group some years ago and had now grown in confidence and authority to become leaders themselves. It made me realise that all our activity in normal times had been unconscious preparation for this crisis. We had no idea what we were preparing for, but now we know. And our leaders have been those we once saw as only those who needed our help. Our Associate Vicar for Outreach, Reverend Richard Carter, runs this area of our ministry, and he speaks now about his experiences this spring and summer.
Hello, I'm Richard Carter. I've been the Associate Vicar of St Martin's and I've worked here for 14 years. I live on the edge of Trafalgar Square, next door to the church. The moment of inspiration for me was in the pain of this pandemic when the church was shut. We had a real sense that somehow this church was needed, that we must keep going, that we must keep on live streaming our services, that we must keep on praying, that we must keep on showing the compassion that this church has always shown, and that we must keep on showing the people living in the square and beyond the square, and in fact in the world through this incredible live streaming on video, that we have not shut up, but the gospel now and the message of this church is more important than ever before. We couldn't meet with homeless people and refugees in the building anymore, so we start meeting on the street. And one of the most special moments for me was when, after 5 months of trying to care for people and feed people on the streets, which is not easy, we moved back again into the connection 3 Sundays ago. It was difficult. We had to wear face masks and have hand sanitizer and socially distance and be on different tables. But once again, to see homeless people treated with respect and with care, and to enter into a community where people matter, and to watch people who had been homeless themselves serving the tables and saying, what would you like to eat? Would you like a chicken curry produced by the Punjabi restaurant? Or would you like something vegetarian? Or would you like Jeff's shepherd's pie? And to see that refugees and homeless people, who are often treated with very little respect and dignity, had a choice again and could say what they wanted. And there was a beautiful atmosphere, a real thankfulness and a mutual respect. The best kind of giving is a giving and a taking. It's a reciprocal blessing for each one of us. And this is the church which has that open heart, that open door, which we want to go on living. What do I want for Christmas? Well, I want that sense of the gospel of hope to go on being preached by St. Martin's through its music, through its programs of education, of discussion and learning, where people can really question their faith and learn about other faiths and learn about themselves, where people can enter more deeply into the love of God through contemplative silence and a wonder for this creation in which we live, where they can realize that the church is bigger than a building, and although the building is important, that all of us have a life that needs to honor the creation and one another and our neighbor as we honor ourselves. I would love that spirit, that new value that we have discovered in the pandemic to continue to grow, and people to continue to grow in generosity, in care, and in thoughtfulness for one another.
One of my pet phrases is a future that's bigger than the past. The pandemic has threatened the very future of St. Martin's. With our site closed for months, we've missed our community and we've suffered great financial losses. But I hope you've heard tonight how we've also worked to overcome this adversity. And my prayer is that this adversity draws us closer to what's most important and makes us more ambitious in pursuing the simple virtues of Christ-like living, in which generosity is the best investment. The joy of St. Martin's is that we do all these things, goodness, truth, and beauty, in a way you seldom see anywhere else to quite the same degree. I hope in 2021 we begin to emerge from this torrid time, simpler, humbler, more grateful, closer to those who love what we love, and confident in a future that's bigger than the past. I hope you'll wish to help us with this future. If you can, please make a gift to support us this Christmas. I'm so grateful for your support. I wish you all the joy that's possible this very difficult Christmas, and send you love from all of us at St. Martin-in-the-Fields.
Ring, a song to be played,